Good morning and welcome to Chaikin PowerFeed, your daily market digest. Today is Monday, October 1st, 2018. I am your host, Dan Russo, the chief market strategist at Chaikin Analytics. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Dan Russo _CMT. I'm on StockTwits as well. Same handle. Hope everybody had a great weekend. PowerFeed TV brought to you today and every day by Chaikin Analytics in conjunction with StockCharts.com and StockCharts TV. Sign up to receive Chaikin PowerFeed for free by heading over to www.chaikinanalytics.com/PowerFeed TV. Get the email that'll allow you to follow on with this show on a daily basis. So U.S. equity indexes ended last week mostly lower as the Dow and S&P came off a fresh record high set the week before. NASDAQ did finish the week higher, but remains about 1.1% below its record high. Materials, financials, and consumer staples were the biggest decliners, while telecom, healthcare, and tech led. Treasuries are slightly stronger on the long end for the week. The dollar index was higher by about 1%, reversing course after 2 weeks of declines. Gold finished the week down 60 basis points. WTI crude had a really solid week, up 3% after OPEC members decided not to add incremental supply to the market and other concerns about the ability of producers to replace Iran's exports on U.S. sanctions. So for the week, telecom, healthcare, tech outperform, materials, fins, and consumer staples lag. And as we get to the desk this morning, pointing to a higher open, up 60 basis points following mixed session in Asia overnight. But bear in mind, Chinese markets are closed for a holiday all week. European markets are higher with Italy a standout. Treasuries are weaker across the curve. Dollar is firmer versus the yen, but a bit weaker on the euro. Gold down 60 bips and oil extending its rally, adding 30 basis points. But bullish bets are hitting an 11-week high. And as we look at the S&P 500, you can see we're still testing near-term support. I'm calling it 29.10 to 29.15 support zone. Below that, 28.73, 2800, 27.57 is your rising 200-day moving average. Resistance does come into play. 29.40 to 29.50 zone from about a week and a half ago. Not a ton has changed from a trend perspective for the S&P 500. Holding above near-term breakout support, holding above the key breakout level at 28.73. RSI remains in bullish ranges, even with the sell-off over the past few days, has not even been able to crack 50 to the downside. However, Chaikin money flow has dipped into pullback. So what we're keeping an eye on here is this, are we going to see something similar to what we saw in mid-August, a brief blip into negative territory and then back again, or something more pronounced as we saw in the March-April timeframe? Too early to tell at this point. But all else being equal, the weight of the evidence points to a continuation of the uptrend for the S&P 500. PowerFeed TV subscribers every day will give you the 5 bullet points. This is what I'm writing about to Chaikin Analytics clients in my closes higher for September. I think that's that trend. I think you really want to of positive months. In October, November, $4 futures do in fact point to a higher open for the S&P 500. From a power bar perspective for the major indexes, not a ton has changed other than further deterioration in small caps. Dow is still at 8 bullish or very bullish stocks for 0 bearish or very bearish stocks. S&P 500, 121 to 166, bulls to bears. NASDAQ getting closer to 3 to 1, 30 bullish or very bullish stocks, 11 bearish or very bearish stocks. And small caps, there it is. I mean, they did have a nice day on Friday, but look at this ratio. Just continue to skew into negative territories. Bonds down ticked, sending yields higher. Utilities had a nice day, up 1.5%. So according to the Chaikin bar, according to the Chaikin power bar, small cap stocks are somewhat more bearish than large cap stocks. Major indexes are mixed. Our stock of the day today, looking at what Chaikin PowerFeed subscribers will receive today as their stock of the day. Every day it's auto-generated based on our proprietary power gauge rating. And today's stock is Paylocity. Ticker symbol PCTY comes to us from the computer software and services industry group. Very bullish power gauge rating, stock gauge rating for Paylocity is very bullish due to very strong earnings performance, very strong price volume activity, and very positive expert activity. But the financial metrics are a little bit poor. But when we roll up the 20 factors that go into these 4 categories, we come out with this very bullish power gauge rating. So let's walk through our analysis of Paylocity. Stock has a very bullish rating, strong trend, strong industry group. So this is the type of name that we know we want to be looking at as a potential long idea. Ribbon at the bottom of the screen tells us where we are and where we've been from a power gauge perspective. And you can see we've turned bullish in the beginning of August. But the stock's been outperforming the market since the late February, early March timeframe. So market and model are in agreement. Dynamic Duo is in gear. And the stock is very oversold based on the Chaikin overbought, oversold indicator here, while money flow has been persistently positive really throughout 2018. So we have an oversold condition with bullish money flow, stocks above a long-term trend line. Past 4 earnings reports have been positive surprises. You can see we made an all-time high above 85, and now we've pulled back, and we're building a base at the $80 level. I think this is a compelling entry point for Paylocity. Given this pullback, to support at the 21-day moving average, oversold condition, bullish money flow, very bullish stock. Everything lines up here to say that this is a compelling stock to look at on the long side in the here and now. Take a look at Paylocity, ticker symbol PCTY. Our sector tracker, checking out movement over the last 5 days for the major parts of the S&P 500. Tech moves into a leadership spot, up 1% over the past 5 days. Communications, that new group, up also close to 1%, and healthcare up over 90 basis points. Oil still catching the residual effects of the strength in oil. That's the energy sector rather, and discretionary leading. So really kind of an offensive posture to the leadership over the past 5 days. As far as I'm concerned, as you can see, the defensive groups like Staples, Utes, and real estates have been underperforming as rates go higher. Materials continues to be a weak group. We've been all over that theme, staying to avoid that. The financials are really the group we want to see get in gear. And with rates moving higher, it's a little bit of a surprise that the financial stocks are not holding up better. That is something to pay attention to. All else being equal, though, I like the bullish posture from a sector rotation standpoint over the last. Innovative technology services, right? And this group over the past 6 months has outperformed the S&P 500 by about 7.7%. And its power bar ratio, which measures future potential, is strong, with more bullish than bearish stocks. It's currently ranked number 11 of 21 subsectors and has moved up 1 slot over the past week. And you can see very bearish stocks. Some of the indicative names here: DXC Technology, ticker symbol DXC, Symantec Corp, ticker symbol SCHKP, and Checkpoint has been a bullish idea. And I think it looks interesting here for a re-entry trend in a strong industry group. You've heard us talk about computer software. Where we are, where we've been. Power gauge rating turned bullish in late June, early July, and then in early July, Checkpoint begins outperforming the Mo in agreement. Very bullish stock, outperforming the market. That's the setup we're looking for. And then from a condition with bullish money flow. Setting up in the here and now for Checkpoint. Looking at what's trending, looking at Friday's S&P 500 movers, NVIDIA up 5% on the day. They did catch a price target increase. And SCG caught an upgrade to hold from sell by a sell-side bank. That was enough to send the stock nearly 4% higher. Intel and Qorvo just seeing some rebound in semiconductors on Friday. And remember, Conagra was down big on Thursday following their earnings, and some sell-side analysts came out and defended the name, saying the sell-off presented a compelling entry point. So investors bid that stock up 3%. On the sell side of the coin, not a ton to speak of, really. AMD has just been volatile in both directions, down 5% plus on Friday. SPGI, can't see any news for why this stock was down 4% on Friday. However, it was a recent sell idea for us and our clients at Chaikin Analytics in one of my notes earlier last week. So we're happy to see that theme play out sooner rather than later. MPC down 3.7%. Some news out around their deal with Endeavor that may have played into some of the movement there, but I can't really find anything utterly specific. MCO down over 3%, and Twitter continues to bleed out. Stock was down 3.25% on Friday. Still runs with a bearish rating within Chaikin Analytics. And now let's just kind of get through and look at some of what we're talking about in our note today. Positive September setting up fourth quarter strength. I'm asking it as a question mark because you really never know. But what we had here is the month of September was up, and over the past 20 years, it's really a coin toss as to whether September is going to be up for the S&P 500. You can see it's up 50% of the time, but the average return is actually negative in September over the past 20 years, down 1.1%. But as we progress into the fourth quarter, over the past 20 years, October's been up 68% of the time for nearly 2%. November's up and December's up 74% of the time each on average. So my question is, the fact that we bucked seasonal weakness in September, does that mean we're going to see an even more positive effect in October, November, December, or did we rob from the fourth quarter? It's hard to say at this point, but it's something to keep an eye on. When the market doesn't do what you think it's supposed to do or what it does historically, I think it makes sense to sit up and take notice. We're doing that here. Obviously, we have our bullish leaning on the market. Obviously, it still skews towards large caps. We're not changing that here. Right now, we just want to follow the roadmap. Fourth quarter is historically strong, and we think that that's still the case. But obviously, we won't remain dogmatic in our view, and we'll watch price as it plays out. Small caps continue to lag. Here's that chart you've seen over and over again. I think it's that important. IWM relative to SPY continues to trade lower, below the 200-day moving average. On an absolute basis, the IWM is consolidating, right? It's not a disaster on an absolute basis. However, when we look at relative performance, we think it's indicative of future potential. So this underperformance here does worry us from an absolute perspective that we could eventually break down. IWM has not broken down yet, but at the very least, we continue to want to favor large caps over small caps, and this is a reason why. And you can see it confirmed in those power bar ratios with the SPY on a bullish skew and the IWM or the small caps on a bearish skew for the power bar ratio. And as we look here at oil, close to a breakout. We've been talking about 64.74 as the range. We're at 73.25, above the 50-day moving average, above the 200-day moving average. RSI is in bullish ranges. However, Chaikin money flow is bearish, and that's kind of interesting to me. A little bit of a conflicting signal here, which is why we're not going to tip our hand just yet. Let's just wait to see how it plays out. However, you need to be aware that if we do break through 74, the path of least resistance from there is higher. So let's interesting to me, though, that energy has a bearish power gauge rating, the energy sector, even as oil has done well over the past couple of weeks. Just something to keep in mind. Watch that 74 level for crude oil. And if you like what you're hearing here, we would appreciate the support. Help us spread the word here about PowerFeed TV. There is our link, chaikinanalytics.com/PowerFeed-TV. And as always, you should sign up at chaikinanalytics.com/PowerFeed TV to follow along with me every day. Have a great day, everyone.